Hi, it's Helen from Heritage Organic Seeds, and today we are starting our May sow along for the May subscription box, and we are going to sow our Cannellino beans. So Cannellino beans are the same as cannellini beans, but cannellini is just the plural form. So this is going to be a nice dwarf French bean, and then we're going to be able to harvest those delicious white kind of kidney beans later on this year. So we are going to start our seeds off in modules. I always prefer to do my seeds in modules just because I feel like I have more control over them. I can pop outside in the morning with my cup of coffee and just check that everything's okay in the greenhouse. Whereas if they are direct sown, for me personally, it means I have to go to the allotment, and I don't always have time to do that every single morning. So it just makes me feel like I've got that bit more control. If you would rather plant directly, that is also fine, but you will need to wait until the risk of frost has passed in your area. For me up in Cheshire, it's usually around mid-May. I think last year was earlier, but I have been caught out around about mid-May before. So I don't like to plant anything tender until after that time here in Cheshire. But check your last frost date in your area, and then you can direct sow after that, if that is what you would rather do. So really, really easy to start off your beans. So your seeds are these nice little white seeds, and then underneath, I don't know if you can see, there is a very, very small kind of eye. So it doesn't really matter which way you plant your beans, but it's generally well accepted to sow with the eye facing down. So we're just going to pop those one seed per cell, and you want to get them a couple of centimeters deep. I've written 5 centimeters down. If your modules are tall enough to get 5 centimeters deep, then perfect. If not, just try and get as deep as you can into the module. And if you're direct sowing, obviously it's going to be really easy to get the depth that you need. So plant your seeds about 5 centimeters deep and about 20 centimeters apart. If you're direct sowing, it is a good idea to plant a couple of seeds per planting hole, and then thin to the strongest seedling once the seeds have germinated. And that's just a little bit of an insurance policy, to be honest. The French beans are very tender plants, so if there is a unexpected frost or if there is a lot of rainfall, the seeds can rot. And then we're just going to water our seeds with a light sprinkle of water. So you don't want the soil to be soaking wet, but just enough to keep it moist. Like I say, if the soil is kept soaking wet, then the seeds are probably just going to rot, and then you'll be disappointed because you have to start again. So I'm going to keep these in the greenhouse while they germinate. It should only take about 2 weeks for these seeds to germinate, so they are quite quick, and then they will put on growth really, really fast. So then when they are large enough to handle, and after the risk of frost has passed in your area, then you can look to transplant those into their final growing positions. Like with everything, we do always recommend hardening off any seedling before planting out into their final positions, and it just helps them to recover from any kind of shock that they would have by going outside. All of a sudden it helps them acclimatise to different temperatures and wind levels and things like that. So we always recommend hardening off your seedlings before you plant them out. And then the same as if we were direct sowing, we want to plant our seedlings around about 20 centimetres apart. So the French beans are really good in that they're dwarf plants, so they grow to about 45 to 60 centimetres high. You might need to support them a little bit, but you don't need any big tall structures or anything. Just something just to keep them upright is the most that you're going to need. So even a couple of twigs will probably help, to be honest. So yeah, a nice easy type of bean to grow. You want to keep the area weed free as the plants grow, and keep the plants well watered too. So you can harvest your French beans as just normal kind of French green beans if you prefer, and you should be able to harvest them from around about midsummer. You want to harvest them when the pods are still quite small and tender. That's when they're going to taste the best. And if you want to grow them as green beans, just keep harvesting them throughout the summer, and that will encourage the plant to keep producing more pods for you. If you want to keep your beans to mature into the cannellini beans that we're going to use for storing, don't pick your pods. You want to keep them on the plant so that they swell up, and then just leave them on the plant so that they can dry out towards the end of the summer and into the autumn. And then once they are dry, you can pick them all, shell them all, make doubly sure that they're dry, and then you can store them to enjoy over the winter months. So again, another really, really easy vegetable to grow. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me. The best place to contact me is on Instagram. We are at Heritage Organic Seeds, or email is hello@heritageorganicseeds.com. And I'm always happy to answer any questions I can to help you get the most out of your kitchen garden.